What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. The first video of the 2024 offseason has to be a mock draft Monday. So we're going to do a 12-team full PPR mock draft. Don't know the spot yet. We'll randomize that. I wanted to start off by just showing you guys just the initial rookie rankings from a redraft perspective. So I thought it'd be a good idea to say, okay, everyone kind of remembers where players were valued at last offseason towards the end of it. I just think it'd be a good idea to look at the incoming class from a redraft perspective and say, where do these players sort of fall? How good is the class at different positions? Then we'll go in, do the mock draft. So you don't care about this, skip maybe like 3-5 minutes, and then we'll start on the mock draft. But basically, it's a wide receiver heavy class. You're going to hear a lot that it's a very, very good wide receiver class, very deep class. In my opinion, it's a great class more because of the top three, not because of everyone else. There's going to be sleepers. There's going to be players that break out, not in the top three wide receivers. But in my opinion, it's just because the top three is so good. That's why the class is great, not because there's like a top 10 players that are all amazing. And you can kind of see that in the rankings. So you've got Harrison, Neighbors, Adunze, all going to be, I would say they'll probably end up all as top 5-round picks. Of course, the landing spot for Dunze, not amazing going to Chicago. Good from a long-term perspective, but like this season, they've got DJ Moore, they've got Keenan Allen, and so a lot of target competition on that team. But look right here, RD, that's just the round these players are projected to go in. Obviously, ADP, don't worry about that. We don't have ADPs, probably won't for like a month and a half. So you're going to get those three going early, middle rounds. You're going to get Caleb Williams going somewhere in the middle rounds. Then there's kind of like that tier break, and we get into like rounds 9, 10, 11, 12. That's where people are going to take their favorite flyers. Do people like Brian Thomas for the deep ball in Jacksonville? Do they like Xavier Worthy on Kansas City? Keon Coleman going right at the beginning of round 2 to a Bills offense that really needs help at wide receiver. That's kind of like that starting point of like the sleepers, round 9. Then honestly, running backs, not a good class. So you're going to hear that plenty. Landing spots are bad for a lot of them, but also just like the actual talent of these running backs wasn't amazing. And so we might not even draft a rookie running back in this one. We will see. We'll probably have the same rule as before, where it's like, I usually don't like to draft a ton of rookies later on in these early mock drafts, just because it feels kind of like cheating if the ADPs or the like rankings here in Fantasy Pros haven't fully adjusted yet. But we will see. Again, not a good running back class. You've got Bowers at tight end. That's really the only one you need to know from a redraft perspective. The rest of them, I mean, the next tight end is Sanders at the 22nd round. So you're not looking at that for redraft leagues. And then the running backs are just sleepers. So general high overview there. Again, the top three, a few sleepers or a few like mid picks, then kind of sleepers after that. Ladd gets a really good landing spot on the Chargers. Bad landing spot for Mitchell on Indy. Great for Pearsall if we see a trade for Debo or Ayuk. Will that happen? Who knows? We will just have to wait and see on that one. So pull that off. I'll sort by not just rookies on my end. You guys can't see that one. TheFantasyFootballAdvice.com if you want to see all of the rankings. But again, PPR, snake draft, 12 teams. We will randomize this, and we will get the 9th pick. Nice. I don't put the clock on just so we can kind of talk through the players. Might be a couple minutes between rounds at times. We're going to start off with 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and 1 flex spot. Sometimes we dabble with 3 wide receiver. I'll try and do that a little bit more, multiple flex spots a little more this season, but we'll start off with just a classic one. And then I'm not going to touch any of this. ADPs right now are non-existent, so I feel like you'll probably just make everything worse by adding those in. And then we'll start with normal for positional values. If it's like bad, like if they look really terrible, then, moving forward, we'll adjust that. But for right now, that's what we're going to do. So we need the draft board. Let's pull that up. Is it just not gonna load? Let's hope that, Fantasy Pros actually has like a functioning mock draft system right now. So we'll keep it at 9, start the draft over here. Hopefully it works. All right, there we go. I was going to say, I didn't even check if it was working beforehand. Probably should have. So here's how it plays out. You're going to see very wide receiver heavy. Obviously, every single time that a wide receiver heavy build starts, like the previous season is positive, is good, is the way you should have done to win a championship. You're going to see ADPs overcorrect the following season. Everyone's going to want wide receivers. Going to be like, well, that just happened. Obviously, it's going to happen again. So you're going to see them early. But it makes sense, of course, in a full PPR format. We're aiming to have our flex spot always be a wide receiver, and there are a lot of really good wide receivers. So if I look at my rankings, these are the only 3 running backs that should have gone right now. McCaffrey off the board, Bijan off the board, Breece Hall off the board at picks 1, 6, and 8. And then the rest of the picks is Lamb, Hill, Chase, Jefferson, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. So I have my rankings over here. I think we like this view and then high drafted players, so we can just kind of see everything. We're, of course, not drafting a tight end. There is no really tight end that projects. I'll see where the first, so we're looking at like round, honestly, round like 2, 3. Definitely not round 1, but probably round 3 for the first tight end. I'm not sure where they have them ranked. We'll kind of see that. Yeah, they report at 31. So yeah, in that general like round 3 range will be the first tight end. You will not see a round 1 tight end this season, so don't worry about that. And of course, 1 quarterback league, we're not taking quarterback. So our options are Gibbs, who I have ranked as the top running back. We can go with Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, all incredible options. I have, looks like Puka. No, I have St. Brown. So St. Brown I have first, then Puka. Right after that, Jefferson's first. It goes St. Brown, Jefferson, then Puka. But let me change this up. I would just like to draft the player. I don't know why we need the whole pop-up here. All right, well, I guess they're changing things around. I don't know if it's for the better, because this is like kind of annoying unless it's like staring at me somewhere. But I guess we'll go over here and we'll draft St. Brown that way. But hopefully they fix that one, because that's kind of annoying. Can we? Oh, we don't want to draft Trevor Lawrence. I might skip that in the future. Okay. We picked at 9. We picked St. Brown. After us, Puka goes. System was listening to me. Then Laporta, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen, and then Jahmyr Gibbs does come off the board. So I have a little bit of a break between Bijan and Gibbs, but then not much of a break after that with Barkley and Jonathan Taylor as the next 2 running backs. So we'll pull up the cheat sheet. They have Taylor and Barkley as well. Neither one of them will be there at our next picks. So let's keep that in mind if we want to go running back and a wide receiver. That is an option, and there's no like ADP game we're going to play there. We're definitely not taking quarterback again. It's too early second round. I don't care really how someone projects. We're going to wait in a redraft league until round 3 or like the end of round 2 in that turn. It's just too early for quarterback, no matter how they're going to project. But also in the rankings, there is no one that we'll be drafting right now. So if it was only running back, we'd be taking Saquon here. I mean, I have Saquon 3 points higher. If you want to take JT, go for it. But I would take Saquon here. Or we double dip and we take our second wide receiver. Looking at the rankings, I do not have a wide receiver next. I do have Saquon as the next player. And I think I kind of want to start off with that. Again, we're going to do this. I think I want to start off with that in this one just to, make sure we're covered. I did a big study this offseason looking at sleeper leagues. So I collected 1 million teams and the outcome of those teams in sleeper redraft leagues over the last 3 seasons. And I said, okay, what kind of strategy can I make from this? And the big one that I thought about was, when do I draft different positions? And what are the ranges, right? You can say, okay, it's like optimal to draft a wide receiver, or optimal to have like 2 wide receivers in the first 5 rounds or something like that, right? But what exact rounds is it best to take your first, your second, your third? So that was a big study I did. The app is now live on the website. I'll pull it over. Why not? I'll show you guys results of like one of them. So this is what it would be. This is what I was looking at on the right. For the first optimal round is in green over here. Last optimal round is over here in yellow. And you would just adjust what position you're looking at, how many flex spots, how many wide receiver spots you're starting, what is the scoring format, and it will tell you the general range. And so when we're looking at wide receiver, you're totally fine in this format, full PPR, taking that second wide receiver in round 2. You probably should not wait past round 5. So that's how you'd kind of read this. And of course, as you can imagine, you increase the flex spots. Well, these ranges are going to shift maybe a little bit towards the left in full PPR, and like standard, they might go way to the side. But yeah, kind of why I brought that up was when you think about the ranges for those. Now I'll pull it back again. When you think about the ranges for those, if we took 2 and then at the third one, it's a really good value. We are starting to be like a little bit heavy at wide receiver when like we look at all these other ones. Let's say we took 2 and then 3. now we're saying, okay, even if there's an awesome value in like the 7th round, I need to like stop taking wide receivers. And so you kind of lock yourself just a little bit into a box by taking 2. Again, full PPR, you're probably fine doing that. But I just figure keep things open, do whatever we want in the later rounds, see what value comes on board. So we've got St. Brown, we've got Saquon Barkley, really good start. A million quarterbacks being drafted, and it's very good I unclicked the box because originally I had the box clicked before I like started this up for quarterback heavy. Doesn't even say that, and we've already had multiple quarterbacks. So after I go, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar go, Kelsey goes right before me. Running backs are Connor Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Achane, and then Etienne, and then a lot of wide receivers. Of course, it's PPR, DJ Moore, Drake London, Adams, Pittman, Ayuk, Debo, Chris Olave, and Malik Neighbors. So pull up the cheat sheet here. Probably going to start getting to the spot where we're going to be wanting to, load up on some of these receivers. I would have considered Kelsey at that spot. Now that Kelsey's gone, I have McBride at 311. We're at 309. Typically you want to be taking players later than where you have them ranked. So we're not doing tight end. Quarterback, I have it as a fine value. If you wanted to take CJ Stroud here, I think that would be absolutely fine. He projects beautifully this season. Just like locked in floor, amazing ceiling. If you wanted to do it, sure. I have it as like a couple picks of value, but I think my general strategy would be I missed out on that first tier. Let's see. Maybe Stroud will be there next pick. We can consider that, but I would probably hold off. So we're again looking at running back and wide receiver. At running back, top player on the board is probably Rachaad White. You could go with Rachaad White. You could go with James Cook. They're projected pretty similarly. I have Jacobs a little bit ahead of them. If this was not full PPR, then you would have Derrick Henry, but in a full PPR league, I mean, we know for pretty much certainty, if he wasn't catching passes before, he's not doing it with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. So because the receiving floor is so low with him, you're much better off in a standard or a half PPR league drafting him. So Jacobs would be the guy that I'd be looking at right here. They did draft a running back, Marshawn Lloyd, that I really liked, and I was hoping he wouldn't go to them. But, it is what it is, right? With the draft and the running backs. So that's a little bit of concern in the back of our minds, but it's okay. Wide receivers, let's see. Top wide receiver on the board is Diggs still there. Diggs is there. So Diggs is available. We theoretically, if we wanted to, we could go with Diggs and hope that we could get Stroud in the next round. People ask me all the time if it's fine to stack in these formats. You just don't have to. Like, I'm assuming right now this is just a generic redraft league. If you're an Underdog, you would absolutely be doing that. If you're in like, the Scott Fish Bowl, or if you're in like a large field tournament style draft, which 99% of you are not in, you don't need to. But if you want to invest in the situation and be like, listen, I think Stephon Diggs goes off this season. I think I just want to invest in the Houston offense because I think Houston as a whole does amazing. Then it makes sense to stack because you're saying if Houston does amazing as a whole, I'm now right on 2 of my first 4 picks. That's what I think about it, not in the correlation of the passing touchdown and the receiving touchdown. So that's something I'm thinking about right now. I do have Diggs a little bit ahead of Nico Collins in my rankings. I think you could kind of draft that one either way. Part of me is thinking that like we're going to see a drop off at running back pretty quickly, and Jacobs is going to catch passes. I think, and then also, I do have in the rankings Jacobs a little bit higher. I think I want to take Jacobs and then hope that I can get Diggs in the next round. Gosh, that's going to take a lot of getting used to. Someone comment if I'm like doing that part wrong, but that's going to take getting used to not being able to click that. Yeah, so I thought that he might be available, and I thought running back might dry up a little bit. We take Jacobs. Nico and Rashee Rice are the only 2 wide receivers that go. Henry, White, Pacheco, and James Cook all go at running back, and so we'll come in here. We'll take Stephon. Oh, my God. I'm going to do that so many times. All right. Fantasy Pros. I mean, good. Like, you got to fix that. I can't be clicking it and not have an option to draft a player. You have to let me draft a player. Okay. Let's pull up our team over here so you guys can see that. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, St. Brown, Stephon Diggs. I think that's a really good start. It's a very strong start. Again, full PPR, we're leaning towards wide receiver, so we want to be attacking that position now, but we are absolutely open to taking quarterback. Of course, I guess you guys haven't heard me say yet, but Stroud gone, Anthony Richardson gone, Kyler Murray gone, McBride's gone, Mark Andrews is gone. I will also say, though, Fantasy Pros rankings for the, I guess not like the second day after the draft, first day. I'm recording this on Sunday. Draft ended on Saturday, I believe. So yeah, first day after the draft. This is probably the best ADPs we've had this early in the offseason. But all those players are gone. Walker's gone, Joe Mixon gone, Aaron Jones gone, Evans, Cooper Kupp, Waddle, Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, Dunze, Tank Dell, and Devonta Smith all gone at wide receiver. So I don't think I'm going to take a running back. I like some of these options. Kamara's got some upside, Stevenson, Dave Montgomery. I think having 2 full PPR, I don't think we need to go there. I'm not going to take a tight end. I don't even think Kittle. Would Kittle even be the top tight end? I have Kincaid over Kittle. I think we wait and risk that. Quarterback, no, I don't think we do that. So I think we just take the top ranked wide receiver. If I had to guess looking at here, so Waddle is gone. Evans, Kupp is gone. Devonta Smith is gone. Debo is gone. Zay Flowers. I have Zay Flowers just ahead of Keenan Allen by 3.1 points. If you wanted to flip-flop that, go for it. But we will take Zay Flowers. There's the mouse. Okay. It was hiding there for a second. We'll take Zay Flowers. I think that's a pretty strong wide receiver core we've started with here. But again, full PPR, we want to keep attacking that. T. Higgins is interesting here. So T. Higgins is available at our next pick. That one's basically like if you think he goes somewhere, it's just a dice roll, right? Like, if he goes to a team that's, a high scoring offense that'll really value him, you're benefiting on that pick. I do actually think, though, there's probably a lot of situations that are a downgrade. So it's up in the air if you want to take that risk or not. I'm pretty sure he's like one of the top wide receivers in the rankings. But yeah, it's definitely a risky one, though, with our 4th wide receiver, probably a risk that we could end up taking. So, quarterback. Dak is my top quarterback. I have him at 504. We're at 604. Would not be bad for us to take him. And that's kind of the direction I'm leaning in. We would be fine waiting because if we missed out on him, Love will be good, Purdy, Tua. But after that, I don't have a lot of confidence in Justin Herbert this season. Jared Goff would be totally fine to take. Trevor Lawrence would be fine to take, although, losing Ridley isn't amazing. But it does start to really fall off after that. And Dak's kind of like one of the last quarterbacks, him and Love, where I think he can have, a top 5 season. And you are still looking for that at the quarterback position, especially in a league that only has 2 wide receivers and 1 flex spot. If we had 3 receivers, we had 2 flex spots, maybe we think differently. But I think I kind of want to go with Dak here and then hope after that maybe we can get Kincaid and kind of fill out the starting lineup. You obviously don't have to draft that way, right? You don't have to draft Kincaid goes. You don't have to draft filling out the starting lineup, but it's still a good idea to try and build a really, really strong starting lineup to your team. But again, we'd be totally fine if we pull up a roster here. I'd be fine taking another wide receiver before taking tight end, right? You don't need your full starters there. So 1 quarterback league, 7 bench spots. We could definitely take a quarterback in the last round if we wanted to, or the second to last before defense. We're definitely holding off for now, especially with Jordan Love off the board. So no quarterback. At running back, definitely could be worth taking a shot on Najee Harris, on Nick Chubb, because in this league, right, I don't need Nick Chubb to start the season. I don't know that he's going to start the season healthy, but I'm pretty sure Nick Chubb at some point, especially down the line, second half of the season into the fantasy playoffs, he's going to be Nick Chubb. He's going to be really good. He's going to score a ton of fantasy points, going to be, probably a low-end running back 1, especially in full PPR. I've got Barkley. I've got Jacobs. I don't care that it might take him a month. He's a player that probably shouldn't be available in the 7th round. So he's definitely on our radar. Again, Najee on our radar as well. And I'm seeing a little bit of a drop-off. Warren's good. Spears good. But we start looking at these running backs, it gets very, very thin in a way that wide receiver doesn't as much. Yes, I would prefer Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown to Romeo Doubs, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, those guys. But there are a lot of wide receivers going to be valuable. Not a lot of running backs can be valuable. So personally, I think we're just going to take our top running back here. And if I scroll through, I'm actually curious. So I do have Najee ahead of Chubb. Part of me wants to risk it. So if we pull up the draft board here, you guys can see so drafted. We're at 9, so that means there's going to be 6 picks before us in the next one. These teams have 2 running backs each, so it is likely running backs are going to get taken. So maybe Chubb goes, but it'd be pretty cool if we drafted Najee. We got Chubb after that because if you look at our like quote-unquote ADP, Najee does have a higher ADP than Chubb. So if we are playing this ADP game, you know, it is smart of us to like take Najee first because it's not like a Najee again is higher in the rankings, higher in the ADP. So it just makes sense to take him first, hope you get Chubb. But that'll be really good because there'll be 4 running backs we have there. We can just start loading out on wide receivers, then go back to running back later on for like a sleeper pick or something like that. I think that's what we want to try out here. I don't know when I'm going to stop doing that, but not yet. All right. Draft Najee. We will see. Chubb does go. That's unfortunate. 6 picks after us. Jaden Reed, Tyjae Spears, Terry McLaurin, Nick Chubb, Calvin Ridley, and Jalen Warren. So unfortunate, but you know what? Not the end of the world. We're definitely not going running back, not going quarterback. Tight end is interesting. So I don't like Kittle this season, but I don't like him, and I have him at 803. We're 804. I do definitely have him below ADP. So George Kittle is like objectively a value right now. My problem is, like, I value George Kittle like the same or worse than Evan Ingram. I have Pitts. Pitts is gone. Jake Ferguson, David Njoku. That whole tier to me is so similar that it's like, yes, we've got a good ADP value here in getting Kittle, but I don't know. I would just chance it. Maybe one of those guys will become an even better value later on. So I'm going to say no to that as well. And we're going to go with our top ranked wide receiver. I don't actually know who our top ranked wide receiver would be. Christian Kirk is not on the board, right? Those players are gone. Deontay. And actually, Deontay's a very, very good pick at this spot. Where can we get him there? Okay. Deontay's going to be a target hog. Mingo's clearly at this point probably going to be a bust. They basically drafted another Mingo and Xavier Legette. Like, my model does not like Legette. I don't love Legette. I just think Deontay Johnson is going to get so many targets. If you don't know why, he's on the Panthers now. He's not on the Steelers. Got traded or signed. I don't remember if it was a sign or a trade. But anyways, he's on the Panthers now. He's going to get so many targets. Offense should be better this season. He's going to be a PPR like cheat code. So I think that's a great pick there. Pull up our roster. Those were 2 bench spots. Okay. Tight ends are still there, but it's still the same 4. And until one of them goes, it's kind of like a game of chicken that you can play with your league at times. It's like, if you're not going to draft him and you're not going to draft him, if we're all just going to sit here and wait for tight end until some of you start taking some of these guys that have all value like very similarly, I'm not going to take one. So let's just keep waiting, keep getting some value there. Again, no quarterback. Running back, I don't know. I mean, it's not great. Let's just keep loading up on wide receiver. It's not great for those positions there. I wouldn't say that like wide receiver is looking overly appealing either. I don't believe, I'm assuming Brian Thomas is gone. I'm only looking at like what they have here, but I would imagine, Brian Thomas has to be gone. Worthy would be next up. They've done a good job again. Like I said before, we're applauding Fantasy Pros for not just like completely burying all of the rookies like they usually do in the rankings. Coleman will be our guy here. We'll pull up the rankings. All right. I guess I got familiar with this side over here. We'll take Coleman. We probably didn't need to do that. We probably reached a little bit there. But I mean, the chance that he's the one, right? They've got Curtis Samuel, so he was drafted by Buffalo, and early, and he was the last of the receivers that. This is like a rumor. I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but a rumor that they went to Josh Allen and were like, "Who do you want?" And Coleman was one of like the last of like that elite tier that he really wanted. So if he likes him, if he's going to throw it to him, and they don't have Diggs anymore, and they don't have Gabe Davis anymore, so they've got Shakir and they've got Curtis Samuel, like, hello, targets, right? Like, there's a lot of targets there for Coleman. I don't necessarily love him. My model didn't like him. I wasn't like, I just think he's a very polarizing player. He's a very boom bust player. We don't really know what to expect with him. But the targets are what we should expect. They're going to be there. So we've waited a long time. It is the 10th round, and George Kittle is now still on the board. So I don't think we should really wait any longer. It just makes sense at this point. Take the value of Kittle, like completes our team. That's just a good value. Even if I don't like him this season, that pick just makes a lot of sense. So pull up our roster again. We've got 4 more bench spots, and then defense will be in the final round. We definitely need running backs. We've got 5 wide receivers, 3 running backs. We want to end up with more wide receivers, but I would say like let's try and find a sleeper at the running back position with this pick. Oof. Okay. One thing I'm thinking, and I don't know, I'm going to go to the rankings and sort by running back because I actually don't know exactly where I have him. But I'm looking at Rico Dowdle here. I have Rico at 1108. We're at 1109, so it's not a bad pick. I'm thinking Rico because like they literally, to my knowledge, it's off the top of my head, I don't think they drafted a running back. They haven't signed a running back. Like he is their running back one right now, and it's that like tiny kid, the 5'5" kid. I don't remember his name. He's like the backup. They've got, absolutely no depth. They're obviously going to be looking to bring back Zeke, right? Like, I just think that's just the writings on the wall. Bring back Zeke. Zeke is dust. I mean, he looked dust 2 years ago. Never mind last year. Never mind what he's going to look like this year. So I think Rico Dowdle is just like the better option. And if there's a chance you're getting the running back 1 here, like that feels like it's worth it. Like the 11th round, you're basically just looking for players who have a chance to break out in some way. And I feel like Rico has a chance to be the running back 1 on the team right now. So let's lock him up. We probably want 1 more running back. Let's make it 5 running backs. Let's make it 7 wide receivers. So 1 more running back, or if there's a receiver that jumps out to us. Now, I think there's sleepers I'll like to take shots on. I mean, Dotson wouldn't be bad if you think that Luke McCaffrey is like a bust, so you don't think he's going to be good. But I don't know. I mean, I don't have a strong take on many of these guys. I think Palmer, if you don't like their rookie Lad McConkey, but I would rather probably just wait and draft Lad if he hasn't gone. I don't actually know where people would have him ranked. Maybe he has gone. Maybe he has. But I think I'd rather just take the shots at wide receiver after that. So who's another running back that could break out? We could honestly just draft Lloyd. So I like him as a running back. He's the backup to Josh Jacobs. If Jacobs goes down, we'll still have the Lloyd pick there. Because I feel like I'd rather handcuff him than do it with A.J. Dillon. I just don't have faith in A.J. Dillon. And looking at everyone else, I mean, it's kind of gross. I don't see anything else. I'm not a McLaughlin guy. I don't think the upside is really there. So maybe we wait because I think we can get Lloyd in the next round. So let's take our top wide receiver. Maybe we do Joshua Palmer. Could do Douglas. We could do Brandon Cooks. They didn't go after someone, but I don't know the upside if that's really there. All right, let's do that. Let's do Palmer, Lloyd, and Njoku's still available. It's a 12th round. No, I think that would actually be the sharpest thing for us to do. We would take Njoku and be like, you're just going to give us 2 amazing tight ends. If Kittle doesn't work out, Njoku's going to be amazing. Give us those 2. I think, did Lloyd seriously go the pick before? I really did not think Lloyd would come off the board. All right, well, we may have shot ourselves in the foot here. All right, so Lloyd did end up going. This is the draft board because I haven't shown it in a while. That's unfortunate. I still thought 12th round for David Njoku. Like, yes, I know, but I can rotate him in if Kittle's not good. If Njoku's not good, like I'm taking 2 shots at tight ends that, great value. I don't know. I thought that was worth it because I did think Lloyd would be there at the next pick, but so be it. All right, who's another running back that we could take? If you think Izzy is the backup in New York, but it could also be Braylon Allen. So who really knows there? If you think Tank Bigsby, honestly, Tank Bigsby not a bad pick. If you still believe in the talent for Tank, he's not a bad option. If you believe in Pierce, I don't know. I think that ship has sailed, at least for Houston. They should trade him to somewhere else. I think Keaton Mitchell, if he comes back and he ends up being, the lightning to the thunder for Derrick Henry, maybe that's an option for you. But I think all of it is pretty disgusting. Honestly, Keaton Mitchell is probably, that's probably the top option there. So we'll go with Keaton Mitchell. After that, I mean, I was kind of poo-pooing Jahan Dotson, but in round 14, I mean, why not? Oh my goodness. I'm writing a letter to Fantasy Pros. They need to fix this. Is that it? Is that the last one? We're going to have to pull up the roster here to see. That one's it. We're going to take the defense. We're going to look at our team, and we're going to get out of here. I have not, obviously. There's no schedules out yet, so I don't know who we're doing it at defense here. If I had to guess, I would say the Eagles. I mean, Eagles or Saints. Pretty sure the Eagles drafted a corner, but I have no idea. So, all right, is it? I'm taking one last look. You can't. I swear you can't draft them from the screen. All right, whatever. Rankings, defense, Eagles. Very curious of the draft grade. All right, we'll take an 85 for our first draft of the season. We will absolutely take an 85 here. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The first mock draft of the 2024 offseason. Quarterback or starting lineup: Dak Prescott, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Monter St. Brown, Stephon Diggs, George Kittle or Njoku. I'll stream that. And then Zay Flowers with the Eagles defense. Bench: Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Keon Coleman, Rico Dowdle, again, Njoku or Kittle, Keaton Mitchell, and Jahan Dotson. So that is a mock draft tomorrow when you guys are watching this, 2 days from me. Tomorrow night, probably 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't really know what time. We're going to do a live Underdog draft. So that's going to be a real money draft. They're releasing Best Ball Mania either after I'm recording this. I'm pretty sure they release it on Monday. So I think Monday, Best Ball Mania is going to go live. We're going to draft a $25 team on Tuesday night. So if you want to see a real draft with real money on the line against real people, we'll have that on Tuesday. That, my friends, is in this one. Hope you all did enjoy. If you did, how about hitting the like button? How about subscribing to the channel if you're new here? Thanks for watching.